Welcome to what is intended to be a series of videos or podcasts, if you prefer, focusing on advice. I'm Chris Long, and I will be relating experiences from my life with the intent of identifying things that I feel like I should have been warned about, that I should have known. The video here is the recording of a drive I took earlier today. I was just driving to the next town over to run some errands, and quite frankly, watching the video is going to be a lot more entertaining than watching me. So, let's get started. My focus today is to tell you about some things that made my life difficult, and it could have been avoided. I couldn't see it at the time. You couldn't have convinced me at the time that any of this was my fault. I felt like that stuff was just happening, and I didn't like it, and I didn't know how to fix it, and it was very frustrating. But it didn't have to be that way. It didn't have to be that way at all. I really wanted some advice back then. I wouldn't have asked for it. I absolutely wouldn't have asked for it, because when you're a teenager, you're figuring out who you are. When you're born, you start out and you are your parents. I mean, you have their values, you have what they've wanted to show you. That's what you've got. And then you go to school and you start meeting new people, and you see new things, and you find things that maybe your parents don't even like. But it's part of the process. You're going to learn these things. So you go up. Next thing you know, you're in a higher grade, and you're meeting new people, and you're doing new things. And you've probably failed once or twice, but you're not in the real world. You're in the school world. And there's protective railings for you. Your parents try to help. Your parent tries to help if you have a single parent. And yeah, there are some people in this world that will try to take advantage of you at even a young age. But I think that's the exception rather than the rule. For the most part, you have teachers who try to keep you out of trouble. You have parents who try to keep you out of trouble. And they're trying to teach you things you need to know. And kids, they don't see it that way. They go to school because, well, you have to go to school. But not everyone sees school as an opportunity. They don't take advantage of it. It's just something you're doing in between talking to your friends and arguing with your parents. And it's not always seen as what it actually is. And what it is an opportunity to get educated. And I know it seems simple. I mean, it really does. You know, you think, oh yeah, it's obvious. Well, sure, you think it's obvious. It feels obvious. But you'd be surprised how many kids don't actually learn anything because they think, oh, I need to get this grade. I need to pass this test. And as soon as the grade is given or the test is passed, hey, I can forget this stuff. That is not the best plan ever. And I'm sure that you're probably thinking, oh, well, it is. School's there to help you. And maybe you don't need as much training in math as you would in your favorite language course. Or maybe you hate the language courses, but you love the math. Both of those things are useful. The science that you take is useful. There's a lot of things that are useful. And it's funny because as you get older, it's very obvious. But sometimes when you're in the middle of it, it just doesn't register correctly. Now, we're talking about school. One of the important parts of school, one of the things that you learn, one of the things that you do is you make friends. And some people make lots of friends. Some people don't make many at all. But it's something people do. They learn. They meet people. And honestly, I can't remember a specific lesson I learned in school. It all just kind of fell together for me. You may have a different story, and that's fine. You may think that you never learned anything. I have a friend. We were driving somewhere. He says, I don't know why I had to study all that math in school. I didn't use any of it. And I said, did you know then what you'd be doing now? And he admitted that he didn't. You take all these classes to prepare. You take these classes because you don't know what you will do when you grow up. And you may be settled. You may think, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to do this. I'm definitely. Okay. But what if you don't? What if your plan to become a professional baseball player? What if those plans fall through? What if you're not good enough? Okay, that happens. For all I know, you might injure your arm or your leg or something, and suddenly this plan of becoming a professional sports figure doesn't work. Or you want to be an actor or a movie star. Okay, but what if it doesn't work? That's why you have to learn all these different topics. They're trying to provide a base for you to use. You may not use it. It might be completely useless, but you don't know that right now. And that's something that you can't work out. You don't know. None of us know the future. We can make our guesses because, our lives are what they are. But you don't know. And when you're young, you want all of those opportunities. And it almost seems like too many opportunities. Like there's too much to choose from. You could be anything you want. You could become a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist or a fireman or a soldier. There's a whole lot to choose from. And it seems a bit too much. And that might cause you anxiety because you feel like everybody else knows what they want to do. But you don't know what you want to do. It's okay. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I got scholarships to go to school, which meant I should probably go to school because I've got these scholarships. They're going to be free. And I went to college, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And I finally decided on a major. I was going to be trained in computer science, a lot of math in computer science. And quite frankly, I was not interested in doing a whole lot of math because to me there was no point. A programmer doesn't need math. He needs to know computer languages. He needs to, learn how to manipulate the machine. Who cares about the math? Well, turns out that that's not what I did with my life. I did not become a computer programmer. I did not work in the computer field at all. I ended up joining the Army, and I became a soldier. And I did that. Then I got out and I worked as a car salesman. I worked at the post office for a little while. And I went back in, except this time I joined the Air Force, so I became an airman. And I loved it. And I was good at it. And I enjoyed it. But you couldn't have convinced me that when I was 22, about to become 23, that I would sign paperwork to join the Army. You could have told me that when I was 18. I wouldn't have believed you. But there it was. And in this imaginary conversation with my younger self, you couldn't have convinced me that I was going to retire from the military, that I would stay in long enough to get a retirement. It just never occurred to me. It wasn't something that was possible. But that's exactly what happened. And that's why school is important, because you don't know. And sure, there are people who know from first grade on what they want to be. Maybe they want to be a teacher like their parents, or maybe they want to be a race car driver. I don't know. But my point is, most people don't know that. And even the ones that do know what they want to do don't always get to do it. So go with the flow here. Learn things in school. Think of it as preparing for your adult jobs, but for your adult life. It's good stuff, Now, since we're talking about school, let's talk about friends. The people you are friends with right now, if you're still in school, they're your friends because you happen to run into them. You didn't hold interviews. You didn't sit down at a desk with two other judges, bring this person in and say, "Do you have what it takes to be my friend?" It didn't happen. That's not how you meet people. That's not how you become friends with people. But what I'm leading to with this, the idea that I'm trying to get across is, just because you went to classes, many classes with this person, it doesn't mean that's a good person to be your friend. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be some kind of lifelong thing. And we're talking about school kids. Whatever grade you're in, whatever way you're thinking, the other people you know that are the same age, they're just like you. Some of them are confused. Some of them are focused. Some are passive and they just follow along. And some people lead. A lot of options there. But it doesn't mean that these people that you're friends with are going to be lifelong friends. Or it may. I don't know. in my experience, there were, I don't know, 100, 120 people in my graduating class. And I don't talk to any of them on a regular basis. I mean, I know them. And if I ran into them somewhere, I'd have a conversation and say, hey, how you doing? But they're not an active part of my life. And I've got a friend that I've known ever since I was in school. One friend that I've known that long. And he's a good guy. But going back to my idea about interviewing people to be your friend, I don't think he would have made the cut. And I don't know that. I just don't know if we would even be friends at all if we hadn't went to school together. I'm glad we did. I'm glad he's my friend. But I don't know that I would have picked him out of a crowd as somebody that's my buddy. But that leads you back to the not knowing. You don't know. And that's the difficult part about growing up. There's so much you don't know. But it's nothing to get worked up about. It's just something to think about. And a lot of the decisions you make when you're young, you don't even understand the reason. You're just doing stuff. But there's still a pattern there. You know, sometimes you want to impress these friends. Sometimes you want to be in charge, be the leader. Sometimes you don't want to be the leader at all. You just want some people to hang out with because everybody else has people to hang out with. So, what do? I'll tell you, what you don't do is get yourself into trouble. And you're probably saying, oh, whatever, blah, 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 but you have a family. Okay. I assume you have a family. And that family's there. Your mother, your father, whoever, whatever you want to call them, whatever relationship they have. These people love you. And they try to make things better for you. They try to help you. And those people, that family, you're a part of it. It is the first group you join. And yes, you don't get to pick out your family members. Again, no interview session where you're like, oh, I'm going to ask you these 5 questions and I'll decide whether or not you're going to make a good dad. It doesn't work like that. And you know that, and I know that. But they're still your family. They're still with you. They still care about you. They still want good things for you. And that's a hard thing to understand when you're young. Because you don't have anything to compare it to. But when you get out in the world, and that could be just school, that could be college, it could be working, it could be going to Sunday school, it could be going to church, whatever. Those people you meet, they fall in 2 categories. Some people in your life are permanent. Some people in your life are temporary. Some of the permanent ones are going to be your parents, your family, because they're not going anywhere. I mean, until they pass away. But the people you meet in school, in college, at work, on the street, online, in social chat rooms, those people are temporary. And yes, some of them stick around longer than others. Some of them stick around for a really long time, and some of them just disappear. But I'll tell you, the times when they disappear, that's during the times when you need something. And that's how you find out who your friends are. I mean, if you ask them for something that you need, something important, oh, I need you to help me with this, or I need some money, or, help me stay out of trouble, or whatever. Some people just flake out and walk away. And if you've been valuing that person's opinion, if you've been thinking about how they do things, and you value them as a person, it hurts a lot to watch them walk away. And it's why you don't want to make decisions based on these people. Because these people, honestly, it wasn't till I can't give you a specific time, but let's use my basic training time as an example. I can tell you stories about people that I went to basic with, but I honestly never saw any of them again. And I hope that they all grew up and had good lives. But I realized that they're just people, and they're going to go wherever they're going to go, and I'm going to go where I go, and I'll probably never see them again. So their opinion of me really didn't matter that much. And I started thinking more seriously about who I wanted in my life. Because there's again, school people and work people and online people and chat room people, and they may be fine to talk to. Heck, they might even be fun to talk to, but it doesn't make them somebody that you want permanently in your life. And that's something to think about. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get across is you just don't know these things. And part of that's because you're young. But part of it's because it's hard to have perspective. Now, an example I used earlier today when I was talking to somebody. I've been to the Louvre in France. There's room after room after room of absolutely beautiful paintings and statues and artwork, and they have Persian mosaics from 2,000 years ago. They have Greek statues. They have the Mona Lisa. And to my example, when you don't have perspective, you walk into some place like the Louvre where it's beautiful, and you just look at your shoes and look at the floor. And you're walking through there, and you're there, but you're just looking at your shoes. You're missing all the beauty, all the interesting things that are there in the Louvre. And that's what happens when you don't have perspective. You don't see everything. You see small things. Getting perspective will help you see bigger things. To see those paintings in the Louvre. To see that sunset. To see that sunrise. To see all of these things. And the question becomes, how do you get perspective? Well, you have to look beyond yourself. You can't get perspective by only thinking about you. For instance, if you were a detective and you were trying to find a criminal, if you're sitting around thinking, oh, well, this is what I would do if I was a criminal, you're probably not going to find them because they're not you.
They may have a totally different life. They may have a totally different value system. And that is the information you would need to be able to guess what they're going to do. I mean, there's a big difference between a criminal that is in your local area, he's always been there, and he decides to rob a bank. Okay, well, you know it's a local guy. You know what local people do. You have a pretty good chance of catching him. But if this criminal bank robber is from another country, he's from wherever, it's going to be harder for you to figure out what he's going to do because that's not you. You've never been there. You don't know that area. You don't know how that person was brought up. So it's hard to guess how he thinks. Well, that is why you need to develop some perspective. You need to understand that not everybody's like you. And when you can separate yourself from, hey, this is what I like and this is what I want, when you can separate yourself from that, you're going to be more successful at figuring out how people are and learning about that perspective, learning about the way people think and the way they do things. It's very useful. It is amazingly useful. And I'm down to the last few minutes here, so I'm going to try to wrap this up. When you're young, take advantage of what you're given. Go to school to learn things, not just to talk to your buddies. Try to get along with your parents because they're going to be there. Your family is going to be there. These friends may not be. You might get lucky. I mentioned my friend that I've known since high school. I'm glad I know him. But there's a whole lot of people that I just don't talk to. And that's just the way it works sometimes. But it's not worth throwing your family away for these friends that may or may not be there. You don't want to be treated like that. I don't want to be treated like that. Nobody wants to be treated like that. And I guess it's really something you have to think about. Because so much of many people's lives is tied up in, oh, I want so and so to like me, I want so and so to respect me, I want this, I want that. And you're not thinking that everybody has those same things. The people you know as friends, the strangers you haven't met, the people that are older than you, the people that are younger than you. Everybody wants that. They want that respect. They want, to feel important. And it makes sense. But it can cause a lot of problems. And I dug up a lot of those problems because I wouldn't listen and I wouldn't pay attention. I was set that I was so smart and I knew everything. And it just didn't work. And I'm hoping that if you're listening to this, that you don't make those mistakes that I made. That you don't have to do the things I did. You can take advantage of your knowledge of your friends, of your family, the things you learn in school. And you can go be successful without getting your feet knocked out from you a few times. Because it definitely did it for me. Anyway, that's where we're at and that's what's going on. this video is about to end because this was a drive from Scottsville, Kentucky to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I will be pulling into a bank in just a minute, and then the camera clicks off. So I want you to have a good day. I hope that you come back and listen to some more, and I hope that this helped you. If it didn't, I'll try harder next time. But in the meantime, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you again soon.